On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And we are back in our bi-coastal romance right now.
Our bi-coastal lifestyle. My God.
We're just going back and forth, but it's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun, but I miss you, and I wish you were still here, or I wish I was still there.
I know. If only there was a way that we could be together more. I mean, who knows?
This would be a perfect segue to be like, zzz, and then we're sitting next to each other.
I know.
Surprise.
But hopefully we will be spending more time together in a little while, a little later on.
Yeah, maybe going to different places.
Maybe
together.
being somewhere where we can all be together a little more.
Maybe racking up those hotel points and those
airplane miles.
Yes.
Girl, because we gotta get those good seats. You know what I'm talking about.
We gotta get those good seats. I know what you're talking about, mister.
Yeah, baby.
Needs a good seat.
Needs a good seat. You know, I'm not high maintenance in a lot of my life, but with travel, I feel like that's the area. Like, I don't need designer clothes. I don't need all the things. But I think with travel, that's one area where I just no longer negotiate. I'm 35 now, and statistically, based on everything I've learned on Obituary, we are almost at the halfway mark of life. And
oh God, that's depressing. But yeah.
Not when you think of it like doing this whole thing that we just did again. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's a lot, actually.
That's
enough. A lot.
That's
enough.
I've lived enough lifetimes in this lifetime, is what I'm saying. I'd like to continue it. Would like to finish it out, see it through to the average death date. But beyond that, I'm okay. I don't need to live to be 130 years old. But let me tell you this. We had so much fun together because we got to, record the first episodes of Gossip Spreadle together, which was so much fun.
So much fun. We've said this before. It is our hangout time that is scheduled on the books. Every week we get to talk about all the gossip. I love it. And it's recorded and everybody gets to see it. So
when you sent me over the episode that we recorded yesterday, that's going out on Saturday, I was doing just like a quick look through before I uploaded it. It was fun because it was like listening to us on the phone, but as a podcast. I was like,
I know.
I was entertained by it myself personally.
I was too. And you know what is funny though? Like in every conversation now in life over these past 5 years that we've done Obituary, I feel like every conversation always has a little morbid spin to it just because of the show, just because of all of our knowledge, just because history is a little wacky, like just all of it. And it was weird listening to it and just hearing current events, but I liked it. It was good.
Same for me. I mean, because now between Cult Leader, there's 2 episodes that go out a week, and then there's Obituary, and then now this. So this is the 4th time recording this week, and I'm so grateful because I just fucking love it all so much. And but it's true because I've been podcasting since 2018, and it's always been pretty morbid. So it is so different to be able to talk about like pop culture and stuff. But it's also exciting because people are excited to hear it. I put like a questionnaire for Gossip Spreader, like, what do you guys want to hear about? And all the topics that they suggested that we ended up talking about in yesterday's episode are all things that I was like, okay, cool. It's fun. It's like we're all getting to see another side of each other because they're seeing another side of us, but then we're also seeing another side of you guys to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're all interested in other things too. But
we're multifaceted.
But nothing's gonna hit like the OGs. But I am excited for everyone like participating in Gossip's Bridal.
Yeah, it's a fun little Saturday morning with your coffee. Like, just.
I saw somebody comment that. They were like, oh, I can't wait to drink my coffee and listen to this morning. And I was like, okay, love that.
Yeah. Obituary and Cult Leader, we are getting down to business. We are making the week tolerable.
Yeah.
The weekend, we're letting loose.
Okay, and we're gossiping. So listen, watch wherever Gossip's Bridal is and review and do the same for here, please, because we love that. And that is the best thing you can do to support us.
Also, can I just say, email us, please. I always see on our website, like, what's the email? Or I want to send something in. obitpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
Send us everything. Sign us up for MILFs in our area. Whatever you need to do, but do it with that email address.
Yes, please. Okay, now down to business. So I was in LA visiting you. We recorded a bunch while we were there, and then we got to have some fucking good Mexican food. We got to go to Disneyland on Friday the 13th with our friend Alyssa and her friend Sam. And what was so funny was that it was like kind of quiet that day at Disneyland. I think because there had been like pending bomb threats or like attacks on the West Coast. And
there was a helicopter flying over Disneyland, and Disneyland is like a no-fly zone.
The security
airplanes
at LAX and Disneyland were both certainly heightened. But you and I were walking the dogs that morning and we were talking about it. I said to you, girlie, if for some godforsaken reason Disneyland was this target and got bombed and we got blown up while we were there, it's like, let us be at the happiest place on earth.
And allegedly, knowing Disneyland, they would be like pulling us off the property, and we would
finger
not
over the fence.
they died in Anaheim, not Disneyland.
No. Divas.
Allegedly, we don't know what we've reported on.
Girl, whatever. It's so funny though, because there was like, I was landing and I was getting all these things on my For You page and stuff, and there was all these like warnings to the West Coast and stuff as soon as I landed, and I got a TikTok on my For You page. I'm waiting to deplane, and it pops up and it's like it was like, these are the places to avoid in California.
Oh, God.
LAX. Disneyland. And I'm like, well, girl, consider me cooked.
All of them.
Consider me cooked. Oh, I do have to say.
Wait, I never got to tell my Disneyland story, my Club 33 story.
Oh, yeah. You went to Club 33 with Cisco.
Yeah, this was like 2 weeks ago. And I'll have Austin put the picture of us from there in it.
I love it.
It was, just speaking of Disneyland quickly, if you guys ever get the opportunity to go to Club 33, which Club 33, there's so much lore behind it. It's iconic. It was the first place in Disneyland to serve alcohol. It's in New Orleans Square, like above Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's this like exclusive membership only club. You go and you eat, and it's fancy, it's beautiful. There's like stuff from Mary Poppins, stuff from like different movie sets. Like, it really was cool to go. So one of our friends got us in. I knew that there was going to be a dress code. I looked it up and I was like, okay, Cisco, you have to wear this, this, and this. And then his friend calls and is like, the dress code is not as crazy as you think it is. Just don't wear anything ripped. Yada, yada. So we're like, okay. And it was like 105 degrees that day. So we were like, fuck, man. Like, we're going to try to wear, like, I can't wear a cardigan. It's too hot.
Yeah.
Cisco was going to wear a collared shirt, but he's like, it's so hot. And you still have to park, take the tram, go into Disney. Like, it's not like you just drive up, right? So we go and you like knock on this little secret door and they like walk you into this little area. Well, then they're like, okay, so actually like you can't come in because you're not
Wearing like a
You're
collar.
yeah, like you're not appropriately dressed. And Cisco and I are like, fuck, man, we're not going to be the reason we don't get to eat here, you know? And so they're like, well, there are collared shirts by the Jungle Cruise. You have 8 minutes. If you want, go find something. So we had to run over there. We bought matching collared shirts that were the brightest.
They're
Tiki
so
Room
good. The pictures
shirts.
are so good.
Oh, God. They were $80 a piece. It was crazy. But we ended up getting to eat there, which was wonderful. But when you looked around at everybody sitting there, there were a lot of people who I think got the same talking to. Because there was one lady in like a t-shirt, but then she had like this tiny dress over her clothes.
Well, and so give us the tea. Do you think it's like worth it?
I wouldn't need to go again.
It's kind of like the Magic Castle, right? Like you dress up, you go, there's all this mystery around it, and you're like, okay, fun, but I saw it. Like that.
Fun, I saw it exactly. It was beautiful. It was very cool to be up above and in New Orleans Square and just knowing like, I think it was built in the 60s. I think it was 1967 when it opened, and it was like a place for all of the important people to go. So like that was cool, that like lore. But no, I wouldn't need to go again. The food was good. It was expensive. It was like a 4-course meal.
I think it's cool that you got to go. You can say, I went.
I went, and that's it. I don't ever need to go again.
Oh. Okay, wait. I want to go back to the planes for a second because my plane ride home, I had a delightful experience on Delta. I didn't even tell you this.
Oh, okay.
I tell you every factoid about every
This
thing.
was the flight that got canceled originally.
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
you had to rebook and fly to Atlanta.
But I had a delightful flight, and it was on Delta. I totally forgot. So the flight attendant, Mackenzie was her name. Mackenzie, she works for Delta. I think she's based out of Atlanta, or she had come from Atlanta that day. I don't know.
Okay.
I think she lives in Michigan now. We hit it off. She had previously lived in Nashville, so she was giving me all these hot tips. And she's like, give me your number before you leave so I can send them to you. And I just completely forgot and like got off the plane. But so if any of you know Mackenzie who works for Delta,
please
tell her to hit me. Tell her to slide in the DMs
Spencer.
because I bought her recommendations. And she was just so nice. Just all the flight attendants on that flight were so nice. But her in particular, she was cool. She kept coming over. And we were just chatting. I loved her. I mean, so often you hear nightmare flight stories, so that I feel like it's nice to hear a good one every once in a while. But then I get home on Saturday night. Sunday, super nice day. The champ and I are running errands. We are, it's like t-shirt weather. And then that night, this crazy storm rolls in. There's a tornado warning. It's just been so back and forth, the weather. Like yesterday, it had freezing rain on my way to my workout. Like it looked like it was snowing. And then today, I'm in a t-shirt. I've been sitting outside all day because it's like in the 70s warm. It's so crazy, the back and forth, but I don't even mind it. It's my fucking head feels like it's going to explode all the time.
I was going to say.
Because I get like migraines, and I've always gotten migraines. And like the barometric pressure is just gagging me like all the time because there's been so much fluctuation. I think once it chills out, it'll be fine. But I think it's just we've had these like extreme back and forths. And I'm like, I need to order. I literally today, I was like, I feel fine now. But earlier today, I was like, the only thing that is going to save me is a large Diet Coke. And so I Postmated one to the house because we didn't have any Diet Cokes. And also in those moments, you need a specific fountain soda Diet Coke. You cannot have the canned Diet Coke from your fridge because it's not going to do it.
Just won't do. It just will not do.
No. So that'll do it. But yeah, anyway, I think the weather is just being a real asshole this week, Madison.
It really is.
And speaking of, I have an Am I the Asshole for us that says, Am I the Asshole? I actually have two today. Well, as is the norm, but
2 booty holes.
2 booty holes. Girl, you got 2 booty holes? Girl.
Why you booty hole look like that?
Girl,
Remember the Magic School Bus?
Yeah. They're like, girl, I'm in your booty hole.
It was so...
It was like that animation where it like goes inside.
Yeah.
I worked an event one time for L'Oreal. It was an influencer event, and we had an influencer there who had 2 vaginas.
Love.
It was very interesting to learn about. I wish I could remember her name so I could shout her out, because I think, at least at the time, she had a YouTube channel where she talked about having 2 vaginas, and it was so interesting to learn about.
You know what's weird is that I was just reading about a woman who was in the circus who had 2 vaginas and 4 legs.
Wait.
And
I
couple
think
other things.
That's my obituary.
Are you serious?
That's my obituary this week.
I think I was reading about her.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I can tell you right now. Was her name
in.
Little Frida Pushnik?
Yes.
Yes.
Why were we both reading about her?
Because we're freaks. We are absolute. Oh my God, this is like a twin. You know, people talk about like twin telepathy and stuff, and I swear to God, we have that bond.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like when people talk about past lives and this, that, the other, I'm like, I can guarantee I've known you for thousands of years.
Well, no, we sit and we talk about like, girl, if we really do have like contracts on the other side.
Oh, we're
over there clowning on us right now.
100%.
Like, we're going to make them do this and this.
Wait, I can't even believe that, though. That is so funny. Okay, so you read about her.
Weird.
Well, get ready, because you're going to hear her obituary later on. Spoiler alert, everyone, but you'll still want to hear the obituary, I promise.
Yeah, I just like read a little, and I honestly probably watched a TikTok. I probably didn't even read. But
So us. I watched a documentary. Okay. This says, am I the asshole for... Oh, actually, we're never getting to the show. But you guys, I have to recommend a book that I started reading. I bought it at the airport when I was flying to LA.
Yeah.
It's called The Dungeon Crawler, and it is incredible. It's not the type of book that I normally go for, but I was like, you know what? I've been seeing it everywhere. I'm going to read it. I am so enthralled by this book. Anyway, am I the asshole for canceling visitations because my late husband's sister always seems to know best?
Okay.
Lost my husband almost 2 years ago, and even though I've tried my best to always include his family in our son's life, it feels like they want to control how I raise him. I can't even pick a hairstyle without my sister-in-law complaining about it, LOL. We have an arrangement where he visits them and stays for 2 weekends every month, and honestly, this hasn't been easy. I never pick my son up the same way I drop him off, even if I've spoken to them about it so many times. Just too many ridiculous things they complain about. Sometimes they even coach my son on things to say to me so that they can get what they want. I picked up my boy last weekend, and he's telling me Auntie told him to tell me he wants to change schools, even though he told her he likes his current school. She had spoken to me about him changing schools previously, and I said no. I called her today to inform her there'll be no visitations anymore. You can come by my house to see my son for a few hours and leave. Now she's claiming I'm trying to push her and the family out of the boy's life because that's what you've always wanted. I mean, I know how close she was with my husband, but I think it makes sense that she shouldn't dictate what I do with my boy, or am I the asshole?
No, I don't think you're the asshole. I think you are the parent. You have to make the decisions. And if someone is being weird and sneaky with your kid and like making him...
coaching them, I don't like that.
Coaching him? No, I don't like that for 1 second.
I think of anything in the world. I mean, you and I are not parents yet, but...
What do you mean? I have a bearded dragon right here.
Between your legs. But I think like a child you're so protective over.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's something you don't fuck with people's kids. And the only thing I could say is like, we don't know. You know, this could have been... after an exhausting amount of conversations. I could see being like, hey, love ya. I gotta warn ya. I'm not liking hearing him be coached things to tell me when I've already had conversations with you aside about it.
Yeah.
If it happens again, like I'm gonna have to just like have hangout time, family hangout time be at my house.
Yeah, totally. I truly think that it does take a village
Yes.
to raise a child. I think your community is really important. But I also think this person obviously has like a mother's intuition and is uncomfortable with how her son comes home. They're not an asshole. They have every single right.
And she's just placing boundaries, honestly, which are healthy. And I think saying, you know, these are the boundaries. You can still come see him, but you just cannot. I'm not leaving him unsupervised over there anymore.
Totally.
I'm saying boundaries and I'm laughing a little bit because I also have been seeing so many like videos of like people learned therapy speech and just incorporate it into everything and use it as an excuse for being a bad person. And I'm like, you know what? That is true because I've been trying to use less therapy terminology when describing certain situations in my life now because I do feel like we hear the same ones over and over again of like narcissist and boundaries and this, that, the other. And it's like there is a line between like a boundary and being like a bad friend. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Or bad
and like
sibling, bad family member, like whatever it is, you
or
know?
diagnosing somebody
Yeah.
can be heavy.
Oh,
but
and that's all
I love
people
to
do.
do it.
Online, though, people are like, it's clear they have blah, 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 or they're dealing with blah, blah, blah. I actually saw that today. They were talking about one of the Mormon wives, and someone's like, I feel like they were talking about one of them, and they're like, I feel like she's using, and someone else is like, no, she has blah, blah, blah disorder. And it's like, you don't know.
You don't know.
Nobody knows, you know?
Right.
Anyway, what I do know is that it's time for our second asshole that says,
okay.
Am I the asshole for sneaking my mom some alcohol while she is on hospice?
Okay.
My mom is in her 50s and dying from liver cancer. She is terminal and currently undergoing in-home hospice care. My mother has always lived an unhealthy lifestyle. She was an extremely heavy smoker for years and luckily quit between 10 and 15 years ago, and she's very proud of that. But she's been morbidly obese her whole life. She hasn't treated her type 2 diabetes well enough, and for a few years, she was drinking 4 to 6 5% alcoholic drinks per day for about 4 to 5 days per week. All this compounded when she ended up with liver cancer. By the time it was caught, it was terminal. When she started feeling sick, which turned out to be the cancer, she stopped drinking except for rare occasions. I visit my mom 2 to 3 times per week. I talk to her, we watch TV, and I'll bring her what she asks for. She recently talked about how she missed her drink of choice. She wanted a couple to have. I got a list of her meds and made sure there were no or minimal interactions, and when she had a really good day with no pain meds, I brought her a 6-pack of her favorite drink, and she was very happy and drank 2 and then went to sleep. I told my siblings about this when I updated them a few days after. They got really mad at me because she has liver cancer and her liver isn't right, but I still gave her alcohol. This was weeks ago, and she still has 4 cans out of the 6-pack left over. She hasn't had them, but even if she did, she's gonna die. Let her enjoy her time. They think I was harming and causing her to die faster by giving her the alcoholic drinks. I think I gave her an evening of enjoyment when she doesn't have many left. I've been catching flack from this for weeks, and now it's spreading to other family members. So am I the asshole for giving my mother alcoholic drinks when she is on hospice for liver care?
You know, I don't know if this sounds controversial. I understand both sides, but I think she's on hospice. The whole point of hospice isn't to prolong her life. It's to make her as comfortable as possible in the dying stages. I kind of think you gave her an enjoyable evening.
Yeah.
What's the harm? But I also know if I were in that position and my sibling did that, I would feel like, okay, what? Like, so I get both sides. I get
maybe
like,
it should have been talked about, maybe amongst the siblings. I don't know.
I have a relative who was on their deathbed a few years ago, and he kind of made the decision, like, get all of these things out of me. Like, he was being kept alive by machines, and he kind of was like, like, I can't do this anymore. And the nurses were like, okay, like, kind of like, do you want your final meal? Or like, what do you want? Like, anything to comfort you. And he's like, all I fucking want is a martini. All I want is a martini. And he couldn't physically sip the martini, like drink it. So what they did was the hospital made him a glorious martini. Beautiful. then took a sponge, soaked the sponge in the martini, and just let him like suckle it.
Why not?
And you know what? Died peacefully. And I think that's the best story.
When I am on my deathbed, if and when it's a situation like that and I'm going out, honey, give me a drink. Okay. Pour me a whiskey. Mm-hmm. No, maybe not me, but cigarette.
No, but you
sure.
understand. Yeah. And you understand the sentiment of like, hey, I'm on my deathbed. I'm in hospice. You don't think, especially with this person's mom, you don't think that they, obviously, it sounds like there was an active addiction that led to this liver cancer. It's like, you don't think that they grapple with that already? They're on their deathbed. Let them have it.
Let them have a drink if that's what they want. I'm the same way. I'm like, give people what they want in those final days. Yeah.
Please.
Within reason, of course, but yes.
Of course. She's not going to a party and gonna get lit up.
No.
She's laying in a hospice bed.
And she wants to watch TV and have a few drinks. Let her.
Yeah. And honestly, that memory will probably be a really special, weird, complicated memory for that person, the daughter. But yeah, I don't see any harm.
No harm, no foul. All right. Well, Madison, I am up first this week, which means you should have a little side bitch for us.
I sure do. Okay. So you were talking about my bearded dragon, Spencer.
Well, you were talking about it, Madison.
I have a side bitch. This is from the Ottumwa Semi-Weekly Courier 1917, and it says, "Pussy brought back for funeral." Bonaparte, October 22nd, dressed in yellow satin, her head pillowed on a cushion of roses, and encased in a suitable casket, the earthly remains of Pussy, born I'm sorry. My daughter brought me a couple drinks, honey. Sorry. Born in Bonaparte, died in Chicago, arrived here a few days ago, and received proper internment here. Pussy had been a pet cat in the Smith family for 17 years. When Miss Jeanette Smith became Mrs. Jerome of Chicago, she took Pussy with her, and upon the demise of the pet, Mrs. Jerome had her beautifully dressed and shipped the remains to her mother, Mrs. Marie Smith of Bonaparte.
I love that. Beautiful sounding.
Beautiful description on a bed of roses.
I think I had a picture of that one.
I know, me too.
I'd like to see
I'd
that.
hang it up.
Oh my God.
Really pretty.
Beautiful. Rest in peace, Pussy.
Beautiful Pussy. Rest in peace.
Hey girl, you got a beautiful pussy. And all the girls got a beautiful pussy.
Put a pussy head on a pillow.
It's a pussy on a bed of roses.
It's a pussy on a bed of roses.
And she was born in Bonaparte and a pussy on the bed of roses.
I'm gonna have a Bonaparte with that pussy on the bed of roses. Put my pussy in a casket and ship across the Atlantic. Oh yeah, baby, it's my pussy.
All right, on that note, we're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get our pussies popping with some coffin spinners. We'll be...
Oh, yeah, baby.
Right back. And we're back. Real quick, we got to give a birthday shout out to one of our glorious editors, my brother, Ian.
Ian, we love you. Happy birthday.
We love you, Ian. Happy birthday. You have been working with us for years, and we love you.
We really do love you, and we're so sorry you have to edit us every week.
Yeah, sorry. Ian's the one who holds the real cards here. He's like...
I know. He's probably got a file.
Oh, yeah. The R. Epstein files.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so crazy that he's turning 25 and I just turned 25. So it's crazy that we're the same.
Are you guys twins?
Yeah. Identical.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
My God. gosh.
Let's fucking get into it, Madison, because
Let's fucking do it.
Let's fucking do it, man. When I was at your house, we were watching, we started that Tickled documentary, and then we were both, I think, uncomfortable, so we turned it off.
We were. It was too much.
You could show me someone being beheaded on the TV, and I'm like, okay. But the tickling was like a little strange. It was like watching porn together.
I did not like it. We turned it off 5 minutes in.
I don't think we're supposed to see
Also,
this.
quickly, I was offended the first 5 minutes when it was clearly homosexual. Okay, it was. And you know it was. And they were like, this is not.
Yeah.
This is not.
It was interesting to kind of hear. We probably watched 20 minutes. It was an interesting thing, but I think neither of us were just in that mood. And so I was looking for something. You were cooking something or making a drink or something, and I was like, I'm gonna look for something different. And I ended up finding.
I didn't cook the whole time.
You didn't cook. So you actually were having a drink, but I just didn't want to say that. So you actually were pulling your 6th ranch water out of the refrigerator. And you were blacked out. And actually, here's some lore. You got so drunk during Gossip's bridal that you had to go on a walk with the dogs midway through.
They had to walk me.
I went and found you on the street. Remember? I was tracking you, and I went and found you. I'm like, hey, we got to keep recording.
No, you were like, hey.
Oh, no,
honey,
we have to record again. Yeah.
This episode sucks. I don't know who we thought we were.
Anyway, I found another documentary while you were pulling a beverage of choice out of the refrigerator. And this documentary was called Finders Keepers. You guys, this documentary is incredible. The story is so wild. Girly, I already gave you the heads up. I was going to talk about this. You are going to have to listen to me retell it, but I have more. I have more info, and I have other things to talk about too. So you get to listen to me tell the Geoffs about it. So sit back, throw your leg or legs up, and get comfy because we are going to talk about this story.
Okay.
When I tell you, one of my favorite documentaries of all time is The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. You and I have watched this together. It's truly my favorite documentary probably of all time. If you haven't watched it, I'm not sure that words can accurately describe all that it entails. But
it's so wild.
It chronicles the family of a man named Jesco White, a.k.a. the Dancing Outlaw, as he's known.
Oh.
And they're all just very eccentric, to say the least. And while I wish there was a reality show about them, I'm glad there's not, because I think it would have just ended pretty badly. So I like that it's kind of just preserved here in this documentary. But this new to us documentary, Finders Keepers, that we watched last week, certainly itched that scratch.
100%.
It gave you the eccentricity. The documentary came out in 2015, and it follows the story of 2 men and their battle over an amputated leg.
I just have to say, the Whites of West Virginia, that gave you tap dancing, that gave you tragedy, that gave you humor, it gave you all of it. So did this. This documentary didn't give you tap dancing, but it did give you a leg. It gave you
tragedy.
Just everything.
For
tragedy.
Sure.
Lots of tragedy, but so obituary. It's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
So this all takes place in Maiden, North Carolina. It is 2007, and a 911 dispatcher gets a call. I almost said bitchbatcher, which I feel like that would be us.
I know. There was some dispatcher that was getting it on TikTok.
Yeah.
She was a bitch.
She was a bitchbatcher. But anyway, 2007, a 911 dispatcher gets a call from a man named Shannon Wisnett, and he tells them, I got a human foot. And the dispatcher is like, you have a what? And he's like, a human left foot. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, how the hell does one accidentally end up with a human foot? So allow me to explain. Shannon was, I guess, what you would call a picker. He's bopping around town. He's buying knickknacks, odds and ends, and then reselling them for a profit. He describes himself as an entrepreneur. And one day he finds out that this storage shed, this storage unit, is being auctioned off, right? They've made TV shows about that alone. Storage units can be a treasure trove. You never know what you'll find. We should go in on one together and
We should.
document that. You truly never know what you're going to find. And in 2023, for example, a man in Slidell, Louisiana, won a storage unit at an auction, and it was later confirmed by a coroner that he had in fact found a human skull inside of the unit. That same year, an anthropologist in Florida was just perusing the aisles of a thrift store and stumbled upon another real human skull that the owner of the thrift store had unknowingly received from a different storage unit. And I think in that case, the owner thought it was like a prop or decoration, but then this anthropologist is in there and it's like, no, that's a real fucking skull.
Damn.
So I think the authorities came and like investigated, but I don't know what the resolution there was. But I also read that in 2025, news broke in Mississippi that Albert Creeth, who once owned and operated Creeth Memorial Services, had been improperly storing human remains out of several different storage units at an eye storage facility, which has an even wilder backstory because he had lost his business license for his funeral home and had to shut it down. And so instead of calling it quits, he's running a funeral home out of the storage unit.
No.
Insane.
We could do that.
Yeah. Officers found the remains of 3 different people in his storage unit and placed him under arrest. And he was charged with improper desecration of corpses, which is wild.
It never ends. The stories.
It never ends. Well, thank God, gives us a career. But there's also people that have found incredible things. Someone found a NASA rocket in a storage unit that they purchased. Someone found unreleased Michael Jackson music, I think over 250 recordings.
Rich.
Yeah, I found an article on thelockup.com that mentioned several other of the most valuable findings in storage units, and it's actually crazy. So one person in London found a $2 million diamond necklace. Someone else back in 2018, a man pays $500 for a storage unit and he finds a safe inside. Typically, when you find a safe inside of a storage unit, they are empty. But this one was filled with $7.5 million in cash.
Why are we not buying storage units, Spencer?
Well, that guy, he ended up negotiating a finder's fee and returned most of it to the owners.
Okay.
Not me, girl. I'd be like, you'll never see me again.
Yeah, no.
Bye.
We're going, we're moving.
And then somebody in 1989, they bought this storage unit for $100, right? And inside is a car, a James Bond car from The Spy Who Loved Me. It was one of the original submarine cars from the movie.
Oh my God.
So it really is just a stab in the dark. Unless you're Jonathan Gerlach, you're probably hoping not to encounter human remains. And more likely, you're hoping to find something that'll make you some coin or like some mysterious treasure.
Yeah.
As is the case with Shannon Wisnett. Long story short, this other guy, the other star of the story, the true star of the story, his name was John Wood, and he is a character, you guys. He had been battling with addiction and substance abuse issues, and his mom had told him, like, I'll pay for the first few months of your storage unit where all your stuff is, but after that, you've got to deal with it, as is the case with addiction. He ends up spending his money on substances instead of paying for the storage unit, and he ends up losing custody of his belongings, which, you know, that's just how storage units work. You don't pay your bill, you're getting a lock on it, and then we're fucking auctioning it off.
And we're buying it.
Yeah, so the Shannon guy buys the storage unit, and amongst his findings is a meat smoker. One day, he dusts it off, he decides he's going to put it to good use, so he sets it up, and then he realizes there is something inside of the meat smoker. And at first it was hard to tell what it was, but pretty quickly he realizes that it is in fact a human foot, which is when he calls the authorities and is like, hey, found a human foot. But for Shannon, he had hit the jackpot because this was a dream come true for an entrepreneur such as himself. He's like, I am going to make a killing on this. So he starts a roadside attraction. Come one, come all, come see the human foot. And news spreads really quickly because people really will pay for anything. And as we know, in the world of oddities, there's an audience for everything. So people are coming from near and far to see this, well, I guess partial leg and foot.
It feels like a story from the 1800s, not from the 1990s.
90s through 2000s, early 2000s.
God, I love it.
Okay. It starts picking up traction in the local media because Shannon is just eager to get the word out. He's telling news stations and reporters about this new attraction. And while it got the attention of many, none were more surprised to see the news than John Wood, because it was his fucking leg. It was his foot.
Crazy.
Imagine seeing that. So he reaches out to Shannon and is like, hey, give me my foot back. But Shannon's like, no, this is a business, honey. Okay. It's actually very deep rooted, because Shannon talks about this in the documentary about his childhood growing up in Maiden, and how John Wood and his siblings, like their family had everything. They had the house, they had the dirt bikes. And if you were a kid, it was like the ultimate cool guy prize to have your birthday party at John Wood's house. And guess who didn't have their party at John Wood's house?
Shannon.
That's right, Shannon. And he was ready for payback. Also, Shannon's dad, I guess, was one of the few people in town who wasn't employed by John Woods' dad.
Oh.
So it's really like deep rooted, like the competition between these two men. But I want to back it up for a second. And I want to talk about how John lost his leg, because I feel like we got to share that story. That's part of the tragedy here. So his dad had this little tiny airplane that they would fly around in. It was kind of like a hobby plane. And back in 2004, there was a tragic plane crash. John was in the plane with his father when the plane went down. His dad dies, and John loses part of his leg and his foot as a result of the crash. And it's just, devastating.
John was the one flying it, if I can remember, right?
I believe so. And there's a lot there. There's seeing your parent die. There's survivor's guilt. There's remorse. It would be incredibly taxing on anyone. And I think what was the situation was that John had suffered from substance abuse issues when he was younger. And then I believe he was like on the wagon and sober at that point. But then after the plane crash, he had to have, the surgery to remove his leg and amputate his foot. He got addicted to the painkillers that were given to him post-surgery.
Yeah.
Now, here's perhaps the wildest part of an already wild story. John finds out he's getting a partial leg amputation. He asks his doctor if he could keep the foot. The doctor ends up passing it off to a coroner, who literally just comes and drops it off at John's house one day. John is picturing he's going to get like his bones back. Like he's thinking just white bones. He opens up the white garbage bag that had been tossed on his porch, and inside is his fully fucking intact foot. Okay? There's flesh on it. There is tendons coming out of the top of the leg. Just hearing about it made me want to pass out, because I think the mental mindfuck of holding this thing and being like, those are my tendons. I don't know. Freaks me out.
We've talked about this, like a bone. Cool. I'll take the bone all day long. You show me skin. You show me tendons. You show me veins. Fuck that.
Don't like it. Keep them in the body. So he ends up trying to deflesh it himself so that he can keep the bones, but he failed to do so. So then he puts it up in a tree to try and mummify it. And then at some point, I guess, gives up. He throws it in the meat smoker that was in storage and stores it out of sight. That ends up in his storage unit, which we know now ended up with Shannon Wisnett when he purchased the storage unit. There is a meeting that goes down at the Dollar General where Shannon, because John reached out to Shannon asking if he could have his leg back. I guess they had a phone call prior to this, and Shannon tells John, well, what if I just keep your foot on display and we split the profit? And John tells him, okay, that's fine. But really, he was planning on going and just getting his leg and taking it. And so Shannon learns that. I don't know how. I don't remember. But Shannon learns that John's going to try and get his foot back. And so he's like, I'm not giving you your leg back. I'm not meeting you down at the Dollar General with the leg. I'm going to go on a fucking media tour. He's going on the radio like, haha, John, I got your fucking leg. Everyone come see it. And I guess talk shit about John's dad on the radio. Just diabolical, truly.
The documentary, I remember, shows like a lot of clips of just the media, and it's like, what the hell am I watching?
Fully. And what follows needs to be seen in the documentary. You guys, even knowing the story, you need to watch it. It is so worth it. You really get a feel for the characters and obviously a longer version of this coffin spinner. But anywho, they ended up getting all of this press because people are obsessed with the story and cannot get enough of the fact that there's a feud over an amputated leg. They're invited to go on the Judge Mathis show where John is awarded the leg, but he's also high as hell in that courtroom. So the judge is like, I'm going to give you the leg, but you got to go to rehab.
Oh.
He does go to rehab, gets sober, and I guess a local vet offered to taxidermy the leg for him.
See, I don't think I finished the documentary. I need to go back and watch it when I'm not hammered.
It was originally on Netflix. It's not there anymore. It's not on Amazon Prime. I bought it. I rented it through Apple TV if you guys want to watch it. But anyway, Shannon is, of course, not thrilled that he lost the leg. Okay, he's like, what the fuck? Like, that was my leg. Bought it fair and square. But he's embracing the celebrity of it all. The both of them continued going on all these, which we saw clips of. They go on all these daytime talk shows, even international talk shows. They're like in Germany on talk shows talking about the leg because the story just garnered so much attention because it was so weird. And eventually, which I didn't remember this, I don't know how much is shown in the documentary. I believe they touch on this, but Shannon proclaims that the smoker is cursed and then he throws it into the ocean to break the curse.
What?
And then in 2016, he announces that he's going to run for president of the United States of America in 2016. But sadly, we wouldn't get to see that come to fruition because in November of 2016, he passed away.
He did?
He did. So rest in peace, Shannon. We're giving you more publicity, and just know you would have had our vote in that election, probably.
You know what? Actually, no. I wouldn't have voted for him because he wouldn't give the guy's leg back.
I know. But it's him or the Epstein supporters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, yeah.
But as far as Google tells me, John Wood is still alive and well. It does seem like the story has died down, but we want to help it live on in infamy, which is why I chose to talk about it as my coffin spinner this week.
My God, if he wants to come on the show, I would love it. We'll fly to North Carolina.
If anyone knows John Wood, we'll fly to North Carolina. Please.
We got to see the leg.
I want to see it in person.
We'll pay to see it. Whatever. We want to see it.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and look at where North Carolina is on a map. And when we come back, Madison's going to tell us what had her spinning in the coffin this week.
All righty.
We'll be right back. And we're back. Madison, what had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Well, Spencer, that was such an incredible story that you told. And like I said, I'm jealous that you got to tell it, but you found it. So finders keepers.
Finders keepers.
But I did think that my coffin spinner could piggyback off of yours a little bit.
Okay.
And while I am not going to talk about amputated limbs found in meat smokers, I am going to talk about some more amputated limbs that got proper burials.
Oh my God, okay. I love it. Reminds me of that girl, remember?
Yes, who had the funeral?
Yeah, we talked about her on the show, and she had a funeral for her arm, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's actually quite a few stories throughout history that are pretty similar to that.
Okay, I'm
that I
excited
want
to
talk about.
learn these.
So first and foremost, one thing that I can't believe we haven't really touched on in the 5 years we've been doing this show, especially because we've talked about the Civil War a lot and we've talked about like early surgeries and just how brutal they were. We've never talked about limb pits, which is wild. So during the Civil War, surgeons on the battlefield performed an enormous amount of amputations. I read that there's an estimated, like during the Civil War time, 60,000 amputations that were performed on soldiers because amputations were the most common life-saving surgeries. This was before antibiotics were even a thing. This was before anesthesia was a thing too, so they were really fucking brutal. But surgeons had, like battlefield surgeons, if somebody was wounded, and this is like, we're talking with muskets and cannonballs, and like, I was reading, like the bullets, like were not how they are today, obviously, and they would like spread through the body. So it was like very important to amputate. And infections spread super quick. So because amputations were happening so frequently, body parts were being stacked in piles, sometimes several feet high. And when I wrote that, I was like, okay, no pun intended. But
yeah.
But eventually, soldiers would have to dig burial trenches for body parts. One for sanitation purposes, like infection could spread, rotting body parts. I don't mean to be crude, but like rotting body parts, would attract animals and flies and different insects.
Vermin.
So they had to dig these limb pits basically and bury all these limbs. Also, a lot of people thought that they needed to bury these limbs out of respect too. I was reading an article from NPR about limb pits that was really interesting because they discovered in Virginia in 2014 a limb pit that was from the Civil War. It was at the Manassas National Battlefield Park in Virginia. So it was 2014. Crews were out there doing like a utility dig. Like it wasn't archaeological by any means. It was just like a routine fixing some utilities.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, these people start finding all these bones in the ground. And they're like, what the fuck? So this turned into like a whole archaeological dig with archaeologists, and then eventually the bones were sent to the Smithsonian to be studied. The Manassas National Battlefield Park in Virginia is where the Second Battle of Bull Run took place during the Civil War, which was a big battle. And the archaeologists who studied the bones found that they were all bones that were from amputations. They were like, yeah, these cuts are made so precise. These are absolutely different limbs that belong to hundreds of different people. And they had, their limbs amputated. Along with many bones that were clearly amputated, they also found 2 full skeletons of soldiers who were killed during that battle. But it makes you wonder, like when I was reading the article, I'm like, and they went into detail about the like precise cuts. Like they took a microscope and looked, and they were very clean, obviously amputated, but they described how they would do it. So they would take a bone saw, and they had very limited resources, right? But they were saying that the battlefield surgeons were very skilled. Okay, so you're amputating a leg, let's say. They would slice and dice really slowly, and then once they got to the bone, really, 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 really fast, and then slowly again. Doesn't that sound terrible?
Well, probably, I guess, to not tear the skin.
Exactly. Yeah. It just makes me wonder, I'm like, how many limb pits are around, especially from the Civil War? I mean, in the South, too, especially. You never know. So limb pits are pretty wild. And actually, Spence, the Civil War gives us another very famous amputated burial. This limb burial belongs to a Confederate general named Thomas Stonewall Jackson. And obviously, the Civil War was 2 sides. It was the Confederacy and the Union. The Confederates wanted to preserve slavery and break off into their own country, while the North wanted to keep the country together and end slavery. There's, so many more details with the Civil War, but if I had to boil it down, basically that in a nutshell. So by no means am I fucking glorifying this Confederate general at all. I just want to talk about his arm that was amputated. In May of 1863, during the Battle of Chancellorsville, which Chancellorsville is also in Virginia, and a pretty major battle took place there. So Thomas Stonewall Jackson was riding back to camp on a horse, I believe, after a very successful attack that he just did on the North. Well, he's riding back to camp, and it's very dark, and his own Confederate soldiers mistake him for a Union soldier, and they start firing on him, girl. They start shooting at him. They shot at him 3 times. 2 of those bullets shatter his left arm. Doctors rush him to a field hospital. And like I said earlier, they didn't have much time to make a decision, and they had to amputate his arm to save his life. So they do so. The surgery goes well, but his arm is then taken to a chaplain at a nearby hospital. And the chaplain there is like, okay, well, this arm deserves a proper Christian burial. So his arm is buried at a nearby family cemetery at Elwood Manor.
Okay.
And the grave is marked and it is still there. You can still go see it. I'll post pictures of it. It has its own headstone and it says Arm of Stonewall Jackson, May 3rd, 1863. So that's the day it was amputated. So you can still go see it. His arm is buried there. A week after his amputation surgery, he develops pneumonia and he dies. And the rest of his body is buried in Lexington, Virginia, but not with his arm. So his body is in one place with a big monument and statue, all that of him. But his arm is still at a completely different cemetery with its own headstone.
Diva. I mean, maybe after dying, I want my whole body broken up into different...
Broken up? Why not?
For just my head.
I know. Oh, yeah. A best of all the worlds.
Yeah,
you know?
put me everywhere.
Put me everywhere. Put me in a mausoleum. Put me underground. Cremate.
Yeah.
Send me to space. All of it. Love it. Okay, I have another story about a man named Captain Samuel Jones. And this takes place in Connecticut in 1804. Now, with this story, there are a couple different local historians that describe the incident like slightly different, but the common version says that Samuel Jones was supervising construction work on a building, and I guess a large beam collapsed and it ended up pinning his leg and crushing it. Doctors had no way to save his limb, so they performed a life-saving amputation. And again, this is pre-antibiotics, pre-anesthesia, so pretty gnarly. He ends up surviving the procedure, but instead of disposing of his limb, he makes a request to have his leg properly buried. I guess he felt that he wanted his body to one day be intact again. So he wanted it buried. He had the leg placed in a small coffin. He had a funeral for the leg, and there's a full headstone that you can still go see. It says Captain Samuel Jones, leg which was amputated July 7th, 1804.
Wow.
Atlas Obscura wrote a little write-up on this story, and I just want to read a little part of it that talks about the leg for just a second. It says, quote, "The story told by the local historical society is that Captain Jones was the proprietor of the local tavern. So after freeing his leg from the accident, some of his inventory was used to abate the pain while awaiting the doctor," meaning they got fucking drunk. "His friends took advantage of the open storeroom and joined the captain in his drunkenness. After the successful removal of his leg, the drunken revelers held a funeral and burial for the appendage. At the time, Jones was living in the rural town of Washington, New Hampshire. He eventually moved from the area, and reports are conflicting as to whether the rest of him was buried in Boston or Rhode Island. The current belief of the local historical society is that he is buried somewhere in the Bronx, New York. His leg, however, remains in its original resting place. The gravestone was supposedly stolen by local college students, and after being found in a dorm room, it was returned to the local police chief. It was then set in concrete to ensure its traveling days were over."
Oh, rest in pieces.
Rest in pieces. I know. I know. Okay, but lastly, and there are so many stories. Part 2 will inevitably happen.
2029.
2020, yeah. I have a story about a president. Okay, this is wild. The president of Mexico. One of the presidents of Mexico. His name is Santa Anna.
Oh, hey, we know Santa Anna.
I know.
But you don't say it like Santa Anna.
You probably Santa Anna. I don't know.
Mind if a white girl gets a little culture?
No, God. What an idiot.
Yeah, we'll just dub Cisco's voice over your voice. Santa Anna.
Yeah. Well, get a load of this. His full name is Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay. Beautiful. He was a very powerful and controversial figure in Mexican history, and you will see why. I read that he served as president of Mexico like 11 different times or something between the 1830s and the 1850s. He was also a military general.
Okay.
And he seemed to be constantly involved in like revolutions and wars. Like he was just always fucking in it. So in 1838, Mexico has a short conflict with France called the Pastry War. And I've heard about the Pastry War, but I never knew about it.
Never heard of it.
It's interesting. It's literally, you'll see why it's called the Pastry War, because basically it started after French citizens who were living in Mexico complained that their businesses were being damaged. This included a French pastry chef whose bakery was like allegedly looted. Like it started because of a pastry chef.
Okay.
So they call it the Pastry War. So France demanded compensation from Mexico for all of these things that were happening to the French citizens. Mexico refuses. So then the French Navy comes over and blocks Mexico's ports and basically like bombards the city of Veracruz. Well, Santa Anna comes out of retirement to defend the ports in Mexico and is fucking ready for a fight. During the fighting between the French and Mexico, cannons are being, shot off. It's that era of time. And a cannonball hits Santa Anna's leg and completely shatters it.
A cannonball, like, even though they seem like these silly old things, like, getting hit by one probably hurts so fucking bad.
So bad. Imagine a bowling ball. We were on Pirates of the Caribbean. Like,
we've
they were shooting
experienced
cannons.
this.
It was scary. Yeah. I know. So yeah, scary. And he survives, but doctors have to amputate his leg to save his life because the damage is super severe. Again, a common theme. It's the 1800s.
Yeah.
Now, Santa Anna has like a flair for the dramatics, okay? They save his leg. The leg gets buried. Well, a few years later in 1842, I imagine that he was sitting there like, you know what? My leg didn't get the fucking credit that it deserved. Okay?
Yeah.
So he orders that his amputated leg that is buried be exhumed.
Oh.
And he says that it needs to be given a full military funeral. Okay?
Okay.
And when I say full military funeral, I mean it. He got a full military funeral for his leg.
Damn.
A full procession. Soldiers are marching in formation. Church bells are ringing. There are crowds in the streets. Thousands of people showed up for this funeral for this leg. Full religious rites are being read. And then the leg is placed into a coffin, carried throughout the streets
wearing
of Mexico
regalia?
City. I don't know. That's a good question. I need to find pictures of it. I was looking on like the newspaper archives and I couldn't find anything, but I wonder.
Curious.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So thousands of people attend this funeral and the leg is then buried underneath a monument in Santa Paula Cemetery in Mexico City. And the monument commemorated his leg as like a symbol of his sacrifice to the nation.
There you go.
Okay? So for several years, Mexico has this monument dedicated to the president's amputated leg. And I don't know whether this was incredibly likable or not, because there's a part of me that loves the crazy. Okay, but
What'd he do?
People fucking hated it. People fucking hated that he buried his amputated leg, okay? So if I could imagine, he is like, annoying and like, why the fuck are you our president? Like, just this dramatic flair. Like, no. His popularity starts waning. 2 years later in 1844, a rebellion overthrows him. And people are mobbing in the streets. People are rioting, protesting, all of it. They go to the cemetery. They dig up that leg again, and they drag it through the streets of Mexico City. Like, fuck you, bitch. We got your fucking leg.
Damn.
Eventually, the leg disappears, and it hasn't been seen since. However, during that time, he wore like a really elaborate prosthetic leg and it was made out of wood and cork. But that didn't escape history unscathed either, because during the Mexican-American War, Santa Anna's prosthetic leg was captured by soldiers in Illinois after the Battle of Cerro Gordo. And that prosthetic leg is still preserved today at the Illinois State Military Museum.
Oh, shit. Next time we're in Chicago, we got to go see it.
I know. I saw an article about them maybe wanting to give it back to Mexico, but I don't know if they still have it or not. I have to look
find
into
out.
that.
Yeah, that's a call ahead question.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
So one leg is buried with honors. One prosthetic leg is captured. Then another leg is just dragged through the city. Crazy. So yeah, that's amputated limbs.
Typical man. You'd lose your leg if it wasn't attached to you.
True. Very true.
Oh my God, amazing. Well, without further ado, I told you guys in the beginning that I had an obituary, and Madison apparently was just reading about this story. This is from, where is this from? The Herald News, Saturday, December 30th, 2000. And it says, Little Frida Pushnik, 77. Armless, legless girl wonder. Little Frida Pushnik, the armless, legless girl wonder, who spent years as a touring attraction for Ripley's Believe It or Not and Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, has died at age 77. Her brother, William Pushnik, said she died Sunday night at her Costa Mesa, California home. She had been battling bladder cancer, he said. As a member of that group of people that newspaper cartoonist Robert Ripley called curiosities, living curiosities, Miss Pushnik always maintained that despite her handicaps, she could lead a normal life. In a biographical pamphlet on her life, she recounted her childhood in public school. She recalled that her mother would carry her to class in the morning, and that her brother and sister carried her home in the evening. I learned to do practically everything that any normal person can do, she said in the pamphlet. I do not have to depend too much on others, as I can feed myself, apply my own makeup, write, operate a standard typewriter, use scissors, sew, crochet, embroider, and many other things. In 1933, Ripley, whose Believe It or Not drawings were based on real-life subjects, learned of Frida Pushnik. First, he drew a cartoon of her, and then he offered her a job at the 1933 World's Fair in Chicago. The standard Ripley show featured as many as 20 displays. Miss Pushnik, then 9 or 10, was carried out on a plush pillow and would speak directly to the audience, introducing herself, explaining what her capabilities were, typing, winning a national award for penmanship, threading a needle. And after numerous World's Fair appearances and 6 years on the road with Ripley, Miss Pushnik returned home for a few years. But in 1943, she was hired by Ringling Bros for its Sideshow 10. She traveled all over the United States by train, accompanied by her mother and sister who worked in the circus front office. Typical of sideshow acts of the era, Mr. Foley said Miss Pushnik sold her biographical pamphlet for extra money. She could make still more by autographing the pamphlet, as Miss Pushnik signed several, holding a pen or pencil between her chin and shoulder. Her standard inscription read, "Best wishes" or "Good luck." Miss Pushnik always maintained that she enjoyed the circus life and did not feel exploited, but most states finally outlawed what came to be known pejoratively as sideshows.
Wow.
What a life.
What a life.
I think that's making the most of it.
Well, wait a minute. I was reading about someone with 2 vaginas.
So maybe different.
Yeah, maybe different.
Or maybe that just wasn't included in her obituary.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, either way, love her. Love that she lived close.
Yeah, Costa Mesa girly. Love Costa Mesa.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I have an obituary that was sent in to us. And it says, "Hey, girlies, I want to start this email by thanking you both for your show. A death of a close family member is something nobody wants to think about until they absolutely have to. Unfortunately, this past week, I had to. My great-grandmother was killed in a car crash on March 10th, 2026.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I know. I'm so sorry. I hope we can honor her with this obituary. A 40-ton commercial dump truck traveling on the highway lost a tire and then lost control, sending it through the large highway median, through the cable guards, onto the opposite side of the highway, and head first into her car.
Oh, my God.
As if that's not tragic enough, she was on the way to decorate her grandson's, my cousin's, grave, as she did every year on his birthday. My family is in shock from this horrible tragedy. I was appointed by the family to write the obituary, and thanks to you both, I was comfortable completing the task. Oh. I'm going to put it in the email below, along with a link to her obituary page. If you'd like to read this on the pod, I would be honored. We would absolutely be honored to read it.
Yes.
All right, so here's the obituary.
Okay.
It is with heavy hearts that we announce the passing of Riva Moore Greer, affectionately known as Nanny or Nan, on March 10th, 2026. At 84 years old, Riva remained vibrant, active, and essential in the lives of those who knew and loved her. She leaves behind a legacy defined by a boundless devotion to the family she spent her life nurturing. Though Riva held various roles in the workforce throughout her life, her true life's work was her family, most especially her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, whom she adored and who returned that love in kind. She was the steady light of their lives, always a shoulder to cry on, and especially ensured that they knew they were loved. To Nanny, love was an action, usually expressed through a full plate, an open door, and a home that served as the headquarters for every family visit and holiday milestone. Born June 30th, 1941, Riva embraced life's simple pleasures and found joy in the world around her. She frequently visited her local gym and loved to search for treasures at local estate sales.
A girl after our own heart.
I know. She loved her walks through Gantz Park, trips to Port Clinton and the river, and the peaceful moments spent at home with her family and beloved dog Millie. She was a woman of delightful quirks. She kept her Christmas clock chiming year-round, insisting on wearing her dog-chewed Crocs for their perfect comfort, and never turned down a good margarita.
Yeah.
A girl after my heart.
Yeah.
Riva is now reunited in heaven with Richard, her husband for more than 60 years, and the love of her life as well, her grandson, Marky. She is survived by the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren, who was the center of her world and will forever carry her love with them. In her memory, the family asks that you keep them in your prayers, and in true Nanny fashion, raise a strong margarita in her honor. In accordance with Riva's wishes, no services will be held.
Oh, rest in peace, Riva, and beautiful job, Geoff.
I know. Really quick, our Geoff said, I can't describe how difficult and wrong it feels to try and sum up a person's entire existence into one obituary.
Yeah.
I hope I did her proud, even if there was no tangible way for me to fully express how great she was, how much she meant to all of us, and how much she will be missed. She wanted no funeral, but specifically asked for one last party to be held at her house. I already know that margaritas will flow along with some tears as we honor our late Nanny. In her documents at the house, she left one last note for everyone to find upon her death. It read, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened."
Oh, sweet.
Your forever grateful Geoff, Celeste.
Thank you, Celeste. That was
Celeste,
incredible.
That was incredible. You did such a great job. I loved that obituary. I am so sorry. I like, that is terrible. Terrible, terrible news. But she sounded like such an amazing woman.
Truly. Well, and that note is true. We gotta not cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. And we're gonna keep those smiles coming as we move into our next segment. We have spun in our coffins.
We have bitched our obituaries.
That means it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals. This one was sent to us on Instagram, I believe, by a Geoff named Kanisha, and I was fucking laughing.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is from KARE11.com. I'm just going to read you this article. This took place in Minneapolis. It says, quote, the woman at the center of 2024's tarantula tosser case was convicted Friday of harassment, domestic assault, and disorderly conduct stemming from an incident with her Airbnb guest. Prosecutors said Marisa Simonetti, who at the time was running for Hennepin County Commissioner, reportedly threw a live tarantula at her guest, later identified as Jackie Vasquez, whom she said refused to leave the house at the end of the rental contract.
Oh, no.
So we might be on her side. Who knows? Let's see. According to court documents, the spider saga began on June 21st, 2024, when Vasquez accused Simonetti of trespassing into her section of the house. Vasquez said Simonetti launched the tarantula, among other various items, at her in what she described as a scary encounter. While Simonetti claimed the guest was a squatter who didn't adhere to their agreement to vacate. Cara Levin's Lou Raguse spoke with both women following the event and learned Simonetti did not own the home and did not have the homeowner's permission to rent it out. The landlord later told Cara Levin that in doing so, Simonetti violated her own lease. Additionally, short-term rentals are not prohibited in Edina. Simonetti was subsequently arrested and spent the weekend in jail on assault charges. Vasquez used the opportunity to move out of the property. About a year before her conviction, Simonetti filed a $28 million lawsuit against Vasquez, Hennepin County, and the city of Edina, saying the defendants collectively endangered her well-being and political career through false allegations and her ongoing prosecution. Further, this suit included more accusations against the former renter for her alleged erratic and violent behavior, and accused the county and Edina police of harassing her instead of removing Vasquez from the home. So she is known as the tarantula tosser, which is so wild.
God, she had it out for her. All I have to say is be grateful it wasn't a black mamba, because we just watched Kill Bill and, you know, could have been worse.
Could have been worse. What I think is crazy is that, I mean, I'm anti-squatter because I've seen videos before and heard horror stories about people like literally getting their home overtaken. And because the squatters' rights and shit. I'm like, girl, we need to get rid of those.
I love that the landlord came in and said, actually
both of you fucked up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Actually, you're in trouble.
Fully.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I have a newspaper article from 2008, and I just thought it sounded hilarious. From the Register Mail. It says, Gallisburg. Police were called to Thornton Oil, 1487 North Henderson Street at 1:43 a.m. today for the report of a naked subject inside the station. As the officer was on his way to the business, he spotted the subject running through the parking lot of Econo Inn, 1475 North Henderson Street. The man was wearing only a sombrero around his waist to cover his genital area. A pair of shorts hung from the sombrero string, and the man had a wrapped cigar in his mouth and was carrying a lighter.
Okay, what are you arresting him for, being cool as hell?
For being cool as fuck. Police apprehended Ty M. Stubbs, 18, 773 Century Estates. Oh, they're giving out addresses. As he climbed into an empty semi-trailer.
Oh.
When asked what he was doing, Stubbs only told police that he was being stupid. He was arrested for public indecency, public intoxication, and consumption of alcohol by a minor.
Damn.
I think he sounds cool as fuck.
Cool kid.
Cool kid. He's just trying to get into this empty semi-trailer, smoke a cigar that's still wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
I love him.
We're on his side, as we often
We're on
are.
his side. I know.
Oh, shit. Well, that about wraps things up for the week. We'll see you tomorrow or on Saturday for Gossip's Bridal. And then we'll be back here in these very seats next Thursday, as per usual, with some more coffin spinners.
And obituaries.
And dumb
Ass
criminals.
criminals.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.